Okay, so let's summarize up our chat about the cranial nerves and kind of put a handle on everything in hopefully a nice big picture here before we hit the review coming up. And so the cranial nerves are there. They're part of the peripheral nervous system, however. They're not part of the central nervous system because remember, anything outside the brain and spinal cord is called peripheral. So please keep that in mind about the cranial nerves. So there has to be a way the brain communicates with the rest of the body, particularly the facial structures. And most of the inputs to the rest of the body is through the spinal cord, but to the face, we're going to have the cranial nerves. They lead to the organs and muscles mainly in that area. All right, so we have some cranial nerves that are sensory, some that are motor, and some that are mixed. And if we look at those that are only sensory, it would be the olfactory nerve, cranial nerve 1, optic nerve, cranial nerve 2, and the vestibulocochlear cranial nerve 8. For those that are only motor, we start with the oculomotor nerve 3, the trochlear nerve 4, the abducens nerve 6, and finally then 11 and 12, which are the accessory nerve and the hypoglossal nerve. Okay, and then the rest of them are mixed, so all those that are left over. Trigeminal nerve, cranial nerve 5, is a mixed nerve, meaning it has both sensory and motor components. Cranial nerve 7, the facial nerve, is mixed. Cranial nerve 9, the glossopharyngeal, is mixed, because remember it also receives taste sensations. And cranial nerve 10, the vagus nerve, is mixed. It has just an extensive distribution, but it does receive some sensory information as well as conduct a vast majority of motor output. The cranial nerve pathways. Cranial nerves begin in the nuclei found in the brainstem and head to glands and muscles in the head and neck. Okay, so just some summary indications. Most cranial nerves are ipsilateral in their effect, so it happens on the same side. There's not much crossover whatsoever. Okay, so if you have some kind of lesion, typically if it's a lesion in a nerve and it shows its effects on the right side of the face or neck, then you can pretty much assume that it's going to be a right side of the nerve that's going to be the problem. Here we see a real brain. Kind of hard to detect these cranial nerves, but what I want to point out is especially apparent in this illustration, they're pretty much numbered in order from their from rostral to caudal directions, from anterior to posterior. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there's a little messing around with 12 and 11. Some pictures will actually show you that the 12 is below 11, but there's a little bit of give and take on those last two. But primarily they're numbered in order in their occurrence from rostral to caudal directions. Here we see a little better picture showing you the distribution of the cranial nerves. All right, again, another illustration. This one's really pretty, really highlights the nerves and they stand out profoundly.